So you want to beat up bad guys, eat awesome Japanese food, bust some dance moves on the disco floor, and sing random Japanese songs? Then I got a series for you. The Yakuza series. For newcomers, this game is really the game you wish you played sooner. Yakuza is definitely strange, mixes multiple genres, and quite possibly some of the most fun you'll have playing a video game. First released in 2006 by Sega, the series has been popular in Japan, but not so much in the US, where it pretty much went under the radar and became niche. But when Yakuza 0 came out in 2017, everything changed. The Yakuza series soon exploded as more and more people started playing the game, and with the remakes of Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2, more people will get to experience the originals on the PS4. So if you haven't played the Yakuza series yet, you're missing out. It's definitely a wild ride. So let's find out why you should play this Japanese crime series. Now, since the Yakuza series spans 6 mainland titles with some spin-offs, this video will be talking about the games in a more general sense, rather than just focusing on one title. So with that being said, let's get into it. So what's the best way to describe the Yakuza series? The game in a nutshell is part Streets of Rage and part River City Ransom, where you fight bad guys pretty much everywhere. Created by Sega's Yakuza studio, Ryugakotoku, it's a brawler adventure game at its heart. While the game is knee-deep in some serious Yakuza business and how each of the games have an epic, touching plot, the game is also lighthearted and has a more humorous side. You'll really have to prepare yourself how this game can go from serious to what the hell in a span of minutes. When you go from this to this, or this, to this, and think this is somehow normal, you'll fit right at home with the Yakuza series. So how did the Yakuza series go under the radar and was unknown in the West for so long? The short two answers: the lack of marketing of the Yakuza series, and of course, as aforementioned earlier, Yakuza 0. Now, a lot of Yakuza's hype came from the hardcore Yakuza fans as well as the newcomers that experienced Yakuza 0 and was like, holy crap, you gotta play this game. The selling point of beating the crap out of random thugs and in doing some weird crazy side activities got people saying, what the hell? Is this an actual game? I gotta try this now. The other avalanche of Yakuza exposure came from the big YouTubers and Twitch streamers that were playing the game. Not to mention that when Yakuza 0 first came out and it was met with critical acclaim and praise from both fans and critics, that the release was retweeted around 80,000 times, creating this viral sensation around the series. So if you're wondering if it's too late to get into the series, it's actually the best time to get into the series. After all, I'm actually one of the newcomers that got into the Yakuza series. So going off the beginning of Yakuza 0, it's about Kiryu Kazuma, a fresh new recruit into the Yakuza. And in true Japanese crime drama fashion, things go very wrong for Kiryu while in the crime organization. When Kiryu is wrongly accused of murder and his life soon being threatened, he vows to leave the Yakuza. But as you can imagine, you just can't go up to a Yakuza boss and say, well, time to quit the Yakuza. Things don't work as easily or as smooth as that. Already, you know things are about to go down. The game immediately puts your character in this life or death situation, especially since you're messing with the Yakuza, with numerous people aiming to kill Kiryu. And from there, going from Yakuza 0 to 6, Kiryu is constantly pulled back into the Yakuza world, as he gets into numerous gang wars, sinister plots, foiling murders, and protecting the people that he cares for the most, particularly a young girl named Haruka. It's never too late to start, but I didn't actually start with Yakuza 0. After Yakuza 0's release, and hearing so much about the series from friends and how it's a must-play, I finally played my first Yakuza game. Namely, the very last one in the series, Yakuza 6, which came out in the US in 2018. Being my very first game, Yakuza 6 was unlike any other experience I played. By this game, Kiryu was already a Yakuza legend who's incredibly respected in crime circles, and it didn't take long for me to quickly find out why he's so revered, as he takes crap from no one and can dish out pain in seconds. In short, I found out right away that I'm playing a badass character that seemingly never ages. 30 hours later, I beat the game, completed many many of the game's side quests and experience the end of Kiryu's story. But as much as I enjoyed the ending saga that is Yakuza 6, a lot of the Yakuza fans that I talked to after were saying that Yakuza 6 was one of the weaker games in the series, that I had to play the game that started the legend of Kiryu Kazuma, Yakuza 0, and that I did. I played Yakuza 0 and backtracked, playing the previous games in the series to catch up. And while Yakuza 6, being one of the newer entries, has the graphics from the Dragon engine, I wouldn't recommend it being the very first game to enter the series. So which game should you start with first? Fans of the Yakuza series will pretty much agree that 0 is the best starting point, since the characters, the history of the game, and the lore of the main settings, Kamurocho and Sotenbori, will mean a ton more if you started at the very beginning. The game sets the whole foundation for the entire series, from 1988 in Yakuza 0 to 2016 in Yakuza 6. The game is also known to be one of the best, if not best, in the series, so starting with Yakuza 0 is a safe bet. From Yakuza 0, you can go and play the Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 remakes, then play the upcoming PS4 remasters of Yakuza 3 to 5, and last, Yakuza 6. Throughout playing the Yakuza series, you'll be treated to the over-the-top storylines, and I love it. The series is one long continuation of main protagonist Kiryu Kazuma and his story. And as expected from a game dealing with the Yakuza, the game does have its serious moments. It's engaging to see the inner workings of the Yakuza, even though it's a fictionalized version that's fit into a video game. From warring competing clans to missing money and keeping lost secrets, the mainline series' 6 games each have their own plots that are compelling. The game hits on a slew of themes such as loyalty, greed, brotherhood, honor, love, and yes, upholding the Yakuza way. Throughout all the twists and turns in each Yakuza game, the series has an epic tale to tell. This game has an incredible way of telling a gangster story that's a lot deeper than you expect. Antagonists that I thought were pure evil, I could actually relate to with their motives. Like, the line between good and bad isn't so clear, or I get why the supposed bad guy is actually doing this. And it goes without saying that the best stories are the ones that it's not really so black and white, where the antagonists have their reasons why they're doing bad. And while you, the player, may not agree with their choices in the end, the game shows that the bad guys have this deeper level of complexity, and heck, you may even like them more. And by the end of each game, you have this deep connection with both the protagonists as well as the villains. I know I sure did, as I felt the Yakuza series was like reading an addicting book series. I had to play the next one because I wanted to know what happened to the characters. I rooted when my favorite characters triumphed over all odds, was pumped before battles, fighting a tough boss, was shocked when certain characters betrayed me, and mourned when my favorites died. And when the game ended, I felt like I personally knew these characters, their hardships, and it got me interested in learning more about the Yakuza itself. Now the fun, weird side of the game. I'm sure you've seen trailers of the game or heard from friends about how weird this game can actually be.
たっぷり甘えてんじゃ。
進むちゃん、勝手に外したらダメでちゅよ。
ああ、まぶまぶ。
But imagine to my surprise that the weird side of the game adds just more than flash and shock value. Because as weird as it sounds, the game isn't just about Yakuza and beating up people. There's some crazy and strange stuff that you can do in the game, and boy, will it make you laugh or wonder what you got yourself into when playing a Yakuza game. From fighting babies, meeting an old man that pelvic thrusts, and beating down villains using breakdancing moves, Yakuza will make you embrace the weirdness of the game. Because in the Yakuza game, really, anything goes. And the game's silly side is there to balance the game's more serious moments and tension. Now, I've always wondered while playing the Yakuza games, who allowed having all these hilarious yet random moments in the game? And my answer was, I think it's because the developers are having fun, and it makes the game unique. Another thing is the side mini-games. One of the fan favorites is running a cabaret club, where you serve clientele to maximize profits. And this minigame is found in Yakuza 0, as well as Yakuza Kiwami 2.
負けらんねえな。キャバクラグランプリナンバーワンを選ぼうの。
小雪です。よろしくお願いします。
In this minigame, while players are running their hostess club, this majestic "You Go Girl" background music starts playing, and the song plays in the background while you pick the girl's dress and you customize each of your hostess's looks. The Cabaret Club side game has become so popular among fans that many of them are telling Ryuga Gotoku Studio to make it a full standalone game. And this reminds me of another side game in another popular game, the card game Gwent in Witcher 3, which soon became its own game, Gwent, the Witcher card game. I spent an unhealthy amount of time doing the cabaret club, as each hostess is not just there for looks or just to simply dress them up. The depth of each hostess's background is compelling, as they all had their career goals, problems, and concerns. It's really like real life, where you get to know your coworkers outside of work, and you pretty much get to learn more about them. Or if you played Persona 5, kind of like social links or confidants. And for Yakuza fans, one of the most compelling stories is a hostess called Yuki. In Yakuza 1, she's just a young 21-year-old hostess at a club called Sunshine. And as you grow alongside her and she matures, she becomes a more confident hostess, dominating the cabaret club scene. Fast forward 18 years later to Yakuza Kiwami 2, and now she owns her own club. Now 39, her new venue isn't doing so hot, as her manager was suddenly bought out by her competition. And it's up to Kiryu, despite not having any cabaret club experience, to help Yuki turn around her new club for shine. Another fan favorite is the disco battles, where Kiryu battles people on the dance floor to 80s music, and this is found in Yakuza 0. Eventually, Kiryu becomes so good that he gets to meet the legend himself, Miracle Johnson, based off Michael Jackson, and they do a friendly dance-off. Just from Miracle Johnson and the Michael Jackson homage, I was personally blown away with how much pop culture references was in Yakuza 0, and it means a ton if you grew up during the 80s. You can tell that the game's developers had a lot of fun adding Miracle Johnson, as well as its director, Steven Spinning, based off, of course, Steven Spielberg. Yakuza 0 brought a feel of the 80s, the Michael Jackson-inspired music, the disco music, in a decade where things just felt simpler from today, yet still so much fun. Other hilarious side activities throughout the series include fighting off zombies for Miracle Johnson's new music video that's a homage of Thriller, dressing up as a mascot character, Oni Michio, for the kids, saving a chicken from being cooked, naming him Nugget, then paying him 300,000 yen to be a real estate manager, fighting a huge shark, dominatrix training, and belting out karaoke. And the next one is you'll grow along the side quest characters. Since we just mentioned how Kiryu helps everyday people, characters you meet on these side quests will be just as engaging. You'll grow alongside with them throughout the Yakuza series, and while many of these side quests are solved by your fists in the end, some of them do have these cool dialogue sequences where you have just a few seconds to answer. One of the most engaging side stories that I liked was the Pocket Circuit Fighter reunion in Yakuza 6. Now this guy, Pocket Circuit Fighter, actually spans all the way from Yakuza 0. This guy's a pocket car enthusiast and known to be friendly and loved with the kids. Kiryu will meet him in the very first Yakuza game back in 1988, as Pocket Circuit Fighter is a young, single 29-year-old. He'll later meet him 17 years later in Yakuza Kiwami 1 in 2005, and then 11 years later in 2016 in Yakuza 6 when he's now 57.
久しぶりだな。初めて会ったのってあれバブルの頃だから。もう30年前くらいになるのか。もうそんなに経つのか。
Times have changed Pocket Circuit Fighter, and not all for the better. He was once a youthful, energetic race announcer back in the day, but now retired from the pocket car racing scene. He now runs a tofu shop back in his hometown of Onimichi, where he believes he's a loser, he's distant from his son, and by his own admission, whipped by his wife. And it's up to Kiryu, 28 years since they first met, to help his old buddy get his life back, and help him get to know his son. And this Pocket Circuit Fighter story is just one story that shows just how well the side stories are done in the game, and shows the bonds and friendship throughout the series. The game also has strong fleshed out characters, as throughout the series you'll encounter a wide range of characters that are well written, engaging, and memorable well after you've beaten a Yakuza game. With the game's two main characters, the lead protagonist Kiryu Kazuma and his co-star rival and friend Goro Majima, they're both very deep characters. Kiryu is a stoic yet honorable man fighting for what's right and protecting people closest to him, while Goro Majima is the crazy Yakuza that always challenges Kiryu to a fight but also has a good, honorable side to him. How he went from this more reserved side to this crazy Yakuza like this is just one of the reasons why Majima is so well liked. Plus, how can you not love Majima's own jingle with Majima Construction? Both Kiryu and Majima have deep, complex pasts where the player is eager to learn more about them to find out how these two came to be. Both have their tales of heroism, which makes them more badass, as well as their more tragic side to see where they made huge sacrifices because they were involved in the Yakuza. The player will encounter a host of other colorful characters throughout the series, secondary characters that Kiryu will meet. And this cast range from people in the Yakuza that are either friend or foe, detectives, people that Kiryu will hold closest to, and villains that are truly sinister and evil. Side characters such as Detective Date, Nishikiyama, Akiyama, and Kaoru will enrich the Yakuza experience. The game makes you care about these characters, both main and secondary characters, their motives, their quirks, and their background. And you'll definitely have an affection for the Yakuza cast with each passing game. Now, to any story-driven game, the characters and plot are important, and that much is obvious, but there's another character in Yakuza that newcomers and fans alike will be familiar with: Kamurocho. That's right, the actual district is its own character, and it's based off the real-life district of Tokyo's Kabuchiko. From Yakuza 0 in 1988 to Yakuza 6 in 2016, you'll definitely see how much Kamurocho has changed, and while some of the sections and stores closed down and people changed throughout the years, the feel and charm of the city never left. The streets will be the same, and the restaurants you know to come and love will be there to greet you in each Yakuza game. It's really like going back to your own hometown or a city that you grew up with. You know where all your favorite hangout spots are, restaurants, shady places, and shortcuts. Kamurocho is like that. By the time I finished Yakuza 6, I knew the streets of the city very well, so when I played Yakuza 0 and the other games, navigating the streets was like second nature. You can say that I even know the layout of Kamurocho even better than some real-life cities I've lived in. You'll also see how Kamurocho adapts to the modern times. From the 80s disco music to the 2010s of smartphones and high-speed internet, the player will grow up alongside the district. And despite the turmoil the city always endures and goes through in each game, many of Yakuza's main stars will actually fight to protect the city that's shaped their lives. Now we gotta talk about how this game just gets you so immersed in Japan. Playing any of the Yakuza series really feels like you're in the country. And if you thought that Persona 5 was true Japanese immersion, oh boy, you haven't played Yakuza yet. From the buildings, the neon lights, the people gossiping on the streets, and the various restaurants you can eat at, Sega really nailed the Japanese life. Go into a konbini or Japanese convenience store and you'll just notice the layout and the feel and the sound effects and how they say "irashaimase" or welcome, and this game just really nails the Japanese city life experience. Step into one of Sega's arcade buildings and you'll see a slew of retro video games that you can play, such as Virtua Fighter 2, Hang On, and Space Harrier. The Yakuza series just shows how prominent arcades are in Japan today, and for Sega's part, they definitely did their part to preserve their old games, reminiscent of what the Shenmue series did. If non-video games are more your style, try your hand at a UFO catcher and snag a doll, or hit home runs at the baseball driving range. Or you can go eat some fine Japanese cuisine for EXP and HP, or buying some items from Don Coyote, the real-life Japanese chain. Or you can grab a quick drink from one of the various vending machines scattered throughout the series. After getting some drinks, you can go pee and fight other people in a peeing contest. Not kidding, you can actually do this in Yakuza Kiwami 2. As you can see, the game enriches the experience that is Japan, as there is so much to do. If you've never been to Japan before, playing a Yakuza game will make you want to go to the country. Anybody that's already been to Japan will instantly feel at home playing the series. As mentioned earlier, this game is a blend of Streets of Rage and River City Ransom. You'll find a slew of gangsters, thugs, and people who just want to fight Kiryu. These slugfests can also be quite graphic and brutal, as you'll wince at some of the moves that Kiryu and company will dish out. When Kiryu slams the guy's face into a urinal stall or wall, tosses scalding ramen in their face, or throws them off a bridge onto a boat, you gotta wonder how long these guys will be in the hospital for. It feels so satisfying when you're beating down people. As for your moves, you got your punches, your kicks, your chain combos, and when your heat gauge is full, you can go Super Saiyan, do special moves, and lay a total beatdown on your enemies. If fists and feet aren't enough, you can pick up nearby items as weapons, ranging from knives, clubs, bikes, and neon light signs. Or you can bring your own weapons in fights. Since some of the battles involve a ton of enemies on the screen, using anything at your disposal will be crucial to winning battles. Now, if it's one thing I hate, and I'm sure many other gamers do, it's when a game has horrible voice acting. But Sega's like, we're not having any crappy voice acting, and that's because the game's voice acting is also spot on in the Yakuza series. From Kiryu himself, played by voice actor Kuroda Takaya, who's tied to his Yakuza character as much as David Hayter in the Metal Gear Solid series, the voices are outstanding, as the Japanese voices suit the characters. While every Yakuza game, other than the original Yakuza 1 game, are in Japanese, I feel that having the games only in Japanese was the right choice, as it immerses the player in being in Japan. The music also hits the right tones, from the upbeat street battle music, to the melodramatic scenes with intense sinister plot music, to the fun, cutesy cabaret beats. The Yakuza music is memorable and fits their scenes very well. And of course, if you want your bubbly J-pop, J-rock, or melodramatic songs, singing karaoke in Japanese will be there for you. And speaking of Japanese, the game's translations for the English subtitles are also very well done. The colloquialism of Japanese to English translations flow very well, and this is important as reading literal word-for-word translations from one language to another usually turn out very bad. Fortunately, players will get all of the Yakuza tough guy talk, slang, and idioms in the dialogue. Now, you might have heard the term the Dragon Engine a couple times, and that's because the newest Yakuza games, Yakuza 6 and Yakuza Kiwami 2, may have some of the best graphics in the PS4 era, and this is because of the Dragon Engine, which improved the graphics and made the characters look very realistic, and I'm sure the future Yakuza games will look incredible. With the new Dragon Engine, you can be sure that future games such as Judge Eyes and the new non-Kiryu Yakuza games will take full advantage of the engine. There's no better time to get into the Yakuza series. For me, the game is an incredible ride as it hits on so many notes and an experience like no other. In my mind, it's one of the most underrated series in recent memory, as I instantly became a Yakuza convert. If you're into an awesome beat-em-up game with intense Japanese drama and silly side quests, then you'll feel right at home with the series. If you're a newcomer to the series, go with Yakuza 0. And if you're already a fan of the series, then I'm sure you're stoked to see Yakuza becoming more popular and getting the recognition it deserves. So what do you think about the Yakuza series? Have you played it before? Have you not? Are you a newcomer to the series or a hardcore fan for the last decade? I'd love to know your comments in the comments below. And if you guys like this video and want to learn more about in-depth gaming, particularly in East Asian gaming, then please hit that subscribe button below as well as the bell. And with that being said, I'm off to play some more games, but I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.